Welcome to Mommionaire Digital Marketing Podcast, where we gather to learn how to use online strategies to build our direct marketing business. Through this podcast, you will be learning how to create offers, funnels, and storytelling so that you can create value for your potential customers as well as your downline. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to everyone. Welcome to another session of Empowerment Hour. And I'm your host, Dr. Angela Reynolds, and I'm very glad to be here this afternoon, which promises to be another great afternoon of discussions and, of course, learning a lot about how to empower yourselves in this 2021, how to grow spiritually, how to grow emotionally. Whatever it is that is needed, the body of Christ needs all levels, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, the social, the psychological, all of them. And so I'm glad to be here this afternoon. And today, back with us is Christiane Guignard, and she will be here to speak more about how to align your purpose. And we all know that at the end of the day, we all know our purpose, our greater purpose is in God. But while we are on earth, we also have to make sure that we are able to stand and to do that which God has called us to do. Okay, so I don't want to wait longer because I know she has a lot to say. And so I want to introduce to you tonight to this platform a wonderful young lady. I've known her for years, and she was here last week, but tonight she will be coming to us again to give us some more empowerment. So let us welcome to this platform. Let us welcome no other than Christiane Guignard.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to see you today. So today we are going to be talking about how to align, right? How to create a podcast that aligns with your purpose. You know, there are a lot of people who are creating podcasts right now and are doing phenomenally well in that arena. It is a great way to connect with your target audience. These are the people who need your message or need your product or your services. These people right now, they're stuck at home and they have nothing to do. They've been watching the shows that are still playing on TV over and over again, and they're looking for ways in how to improve their lives or looking for products on how what to do to solve a problem, or they're looking for a solution that you may have. So one of the things that people do not realize is that YouTube is very similar to Google. It's a search engine. YouTube is actually a search engine. So many times if you put in, type into Google and you say how to, you will see not only websites with information on how to do whatever you would like to learn, but you will also see YouTube videos come up because YouTube is a search engine. So if you are not using YouTube and you're wondering, how do I connect with my target audience? YouTube is a great way to do that. Now, not everyone feels comfortable in front of a camera. I know it took a while before I really understood how to present myself in camera, and it's still a learning process. But what I have found is that instead of just having a podcast that is audio, I also use YouTube to record my podcast. So I record a video and I really speak about whatever topic that I feel in my heart that I need to share with my target audience. And what I like most about it is as I'm doing it, I'm learning how to present online, how to speak, how to set up backgrounds that are the appropriate backgrounds for my target audience. So with this in mind, you have that option to use YouTube to create your podcast. But if you're one of those people who are like, I don't feel comfortable being in camera, I feel awkward and I need to really learn this process, you don't have to use YouTube to create your podcast. You could actually use create a podcast using like an audio, created on your audio file. You could even like create an audio on your phone, record an audio podcast, and then you could upload it through something called Libsyn, which would allow you to add that into your iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play. I started my podcast without even really knowing how to start a podcast. So what I did was I joined a 21-day challenge. And the 21-day challenge, because my purpose is to teach women about, the name of my business is Mommy Millionaire. So it's really to teach women how to market themselves digitally online. So I actually did pretty much a 21-day challenge, and I literally recorded every single video for each day on that topic. And what I did with that was that I saved all these recordings on a file, and I have an assistant, and I grant her access to the files so she's able to edit the videos and place these videos onto my YouTube, and then through Libsyn have all of those podcast videos go through for iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. Now, it is an easy process with anything. If you're not sure how to, like, exactly how do I record my videos, you could use your phone and record your videos. You will want someone to help you with creating an intro or an outro. So if you don't have an assistant or someone who doesn't know how to do that, there is a company, the name is, you can search online, it's called Fiverr. Fiverr is where you can find other people who know how to create a podcast or who know how to help you with books. These are people who could work for you and help, and they will charge you a fee for them to edit your podcast. So the thing is, don't let anything stop you from your purpose, because God has created all of us with a purpose. And this is the time that we need to really focus and hound into our purpose so that we can get to that next level that God has for us. Things are shaking. And, when we look at the world around us and we look at businesses, I know for sure businesses are planning to restructure. The businesses are looking different. Probably some people will be able to work from home because of technology. I know the classrooms have changed. I know as an educator where I teach, we've been using computers in our classroom, but being now that we've been learning online since March, everything, all the instructions have been changed, and the simulations that students can do online is quite amazing, because now school districts are investing in these technologies so that students can have that rigorous instruction. So we are in this environment where there's so much knowledge and so much technology, Canada. And this restaurant owner actually used Instagram and created a really funny story on Instagram, which caused so many people to actually contact him to order food, takeout. And so now his restaurant is busy. I think about my daughter. I remember the last time we went to visit New York, my daughter wanted us to go and get food from a restaurant, although the restaurant was closed, but they had takeout orders. We ordered our food and brought it home because of all the stuff that she had seen on Instagram, the images of the people cooking and how good the food looked and the ratings. So we need to really use these technologies that are available for us. Now, some of you may be nervous, like, what am I going to say? I know when I started podcasting, that was like one of the things that I was told, like, after a while, you run out of content, you run out of stories. Well, if you're connecting with your purpose, there is no way you're going to run out of content, because you're connecting with your purpose. So that means you're reading a lot about the things that you're interested in, that you know about. You're also probably in groups that are discussing these issues, so you know what challenges people are facing that week. You also, as you're speaking to other people who have the same interests as you in your business, you're finding out, like you're coming up with new ideas of what to talk about in your subject. So what podcasts do for us, and it helps us to develop our brand, right? It helps us to become that attractive character. What do you mean by attractive character? Well, in every business, every organization, there is an attractive character. There's something about the business or the organization that attracts everyone to that business and organization. Think about McDonald's. I remember my daughter, like we would drive and I would not even see the M sign, right? But from very, very far, my daughter, I almost feel like she had a sixth sense or something, you know, little babies at 2 years old. McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's. That isn't, so McDonald's has created a strong brand, right? And that brand is an attractive character to children and to people who love McDonald's. That is the same thing about you. What podcasting does, it helps you to build your brand. So as you are speaking, you're learning about the needs of the people in your target audience, and you are developing that relationship and the connection that can only be done when that person hears your voice, hears your message, and you are becoming that attractive character because people are stopping what they're doing so that they could listen to your podcast. Or if it's a YouTube, people are searching to see what is the next YouTube video that you're going to be bringing out. So using podcasting is a great way to become that attractive character, to build contact and to build connection with your target audience. Now, some people, actually in the past, I have actually used to blog, and I find that blogging takes a lot of time, and because you have to know the SEO, which is like what are the keywords, top keywords that you need to use in order to the blog, and so that your website can be one of the first websites that everyone sees. However, with a podcast, it is so easy. You create your podcast. If you're using YouTube, I really suggest YouTube. It's a great way to get your voice out there. You always want to think about some keywords in your podcast, like say how to lose weight in 30 days, or how to lose 20 pounds in 30 days. This way, when people are searching online, and they're trying to lose weight, and they put that search, remember I said YouTube is a search engine, your video will be one of the first things that come up, and people will know about it. Also, you can use your Facebook, your personal Facebook profile, to let people know that you're a podcaster, and add the link to your podcast onto your Facebook profile so people can access it. But what I like about podcasting is not only does it help you to be that attractive character, it's not only that it connects you to your target audience, it opens the door of opportunity. By podcasting, you're able to meet other people through different platforms who are podcasting as well, and you're able to actually come and be a guest speaker. You're able to provide content for these other platforms as well that you would never have been able to do if you did not podcast. Don't be afraid of the process. It's very easy process. You know, I started podcasting first by using my computer. In the beginning, I didn't really know how to position my computer. I remember using Zoom to do my podcast, to record my podcast. But there's so many things out there that you can do. So for instance, right now we have StreamYard, which is a great way to podcast as well, because you can create your background image. You can create the thumb card right on that application. That's when you want to create a video online, and if you want to add that to YouTube. Second of all, you can also use your phone and record what you have to say, your message, and then add that to iTunes. And so you would have to create an iTunes account. You would also, if you want to use Stitcher, you have to open up a Stitcher account. And if you'd like to use Google Play, you will have to open up a Google Play account. I know for iTunes, it takes a few days before they accept your account and your account becomes active. And Google Play and Stitcher takes about 24 hours. But once you have those platforms, either one of these platforms, you just start podcasting, start speaking to your audience. You will want to have an intro, so you would have a music in the background and a message in the background. You would want more than likely to have an outro, which is the end portion where you're telling the people maybe where to find you online or to come and join you for your next podcast. But really, it is the only way to start anything you want to do in life is by taking that step, that leap of faith, and doing it. So please get out of your discomfort. You do it when you're uncomfortable. In fact, I found that the best things to do are when you're uncomfortable, because you know what? It develops you as a person. It develops your character, and it really makes you grow. So God wants to stretch us, right? And he wants to bless us in many ways. So if you hear that little still small voice in you that's speaking to you and saying, hey, you have a message. You should start your podcast. Go ahead and do so. It's amazing when you start your podcast how you will find everything that you need along the way. If you're still nervous about learning how to podcast, I would say do a Google search and how to podcast. Do a research on that. And it will show you step by step of ways to podcast. Now in podcasting, obviously, apart from having a good title for your podcast, you would also need to know some key trigger words that are your tags that you would create for your podcast. So when people are searching online, that your podcast would come up. But think about your target audience. Who are your target audience? I always think about creating that avatar. I call it my target audience. Some people call it avatar. Who are they? What age group are they in? Where do they congregate? What type of message do they like to listen to? And who do they follow? Find out who the influencers are and do a research. I think with anything in business, you always need to make market research so you understand your target audience. And once you start making that research, you will discover what type of content that your target audience are attracted to and be able to create those content so that you have something valuable that your target audience will want to hear. Now, another thing you want to do is that there are ways also to get your podcast out there in public. You may want to advertise it on Facebook. Apart from putting it in your Facebook profile, you may want to have a Facebook page where you can put an ad on Facebook page where people are aware of your podcast is one way. You want to talk to people and let people know that you know who are influential, that you have a podcast, and let them know about what you do. So this way, you as well can be part of their podcast, because by presenting yourself to another influencer and by coming and showing up on their own platform, you're also letting their audience know that you're available as well. And then you have a valuable content and information that could make a change in people's lives. Right now, a lot of us are looking for change, right? Improvement. Everyone is looking for how to get to that next level with the things, how they are going on in the economy right now, and people struggling, trying to figure out how to build their business, how to take care of their family, how to be a better parent, how to be have a better relationship, how to be a better spouse. So many needs are out there right now, and people have the time to be able to learn. So podcasting is a great way for you to teach people about the things that they like to learn, because people are looking for results, right? People are looking at the vehicle they're using right now. They're struggling. They're trying to see, okay, how do I get out of this vehicle? And if you know that and you have the solution, a podcast would allow you to be able to communicate that information with your target audience, letting them know that you understand the pain and the struggle that they've had using that vehicle, and also telling them your experience in that vehicle, how it felt like for you, and how did you come out with that aha moment where you realize, okay, there's something wrong with this vehicle, I need something different, and what made you move on to that new vehicle. And podcast allows you also to be able to explain to your target audience how being in that vehicle, you've also had challenges in that, because you know what, the grass is not always greener. Everyone thinks that the grass is greener on the other side, and it's not always greener on the other side. But your vehicle is that next vehicle that's bringing you to the next level, right? So you are able to explain to your target audience what it is in that vehicle that has made your life improve, and maybe some challenges with the vehicle, but what you have learned from these challenges and how you have been able to overcome even those challenges within that new position to get to the place of resolve of where you are now, and how your life has improved because you've made that one decision of changing the vehicle, moving into something new. You may not have understood it. It may have been challenging, but then you've learned from there and you've developed into a greater person, and now you're on. And because of that change that has happened, right, that struggle and the change in the development of character and who you are, now you have been able to accomplish the results that you want to accomplish. So figure out what is your message, and from there, really tell your story. Tell your story from the depth of your heart. Don't pretend. Right now, I'm noticing a lot of people, especially on YouTube and this platform, that people are pretending that they are super great, right? They're doing great things. They have the major car, and they have the big house, and all these things that are pretending. And you see these pictures, and the thing is, they're not there yet, but they're doing it because they feel that's what's bringing people to purchase their products or their services. Be genuinely you, because you know what? There've been so many of these fake people out there that people have been burned from them, and people are talking about it right now. In fact, there's a whole talk right now within the digital marketing platform where a lot of people, we're sensing in the next year or so, a lot of people are going to be dropping out of this business. And which means for people like us who have a purpose, who know what God has called us for, this is going to be our opportunity to take advantage and to grow within the platform. There has never been a time to be able to use online platform than it is right now. It is the time. You don't want to get, I always mention this to one of my cousins, I always want to be in the uprising, right, of an economy. I want to be an uprising of an intake, not in the when it's going down. Social media right now is in the uprising. So a lot of people are going to be dropping out, but as the economy change, as things starts to change, whatever message God is putting in your heart, that message is for this time. It is for this age. It is a message that is good right now. It won't be good a year from now. It won't be good 2 years from now. It is good right now. So you want to be able to be in that right now, the right place, the right time that God has put you in, and really deliver your message. And the best way to do it is podcasting. It is where you really develop as a person. This is where you connect with your audience. It is where you inspire. It is where you find more information that you can provide for your audience, because you know how they're suffering, and you know exactly what they need. So use this platform. And there's so much to learn about this platform. So if you'd like to learn more, you can check out Mommy Millionaire. I'm in the Facebook group. I also have Mommionaire website, which has a lot of information how to use Facebook to grow your leads, to grow your business. I love using Facebook, and I love using my platform, YouTube, as well as having my podcast in iTunes, as well as Stitcher, and Google Play, because it gives me that way of always staying fresh, creating new content for my audience, but most of all, connecting with my audience through my Facebook. So if you're wondering how to do this, there's so much to learn. I would say before you even start your podcast, learn your target market, do your marketing research, learn your target market, find out who are the influencers. When you know who are the influencers, now research and see what they do. Research what are their message, how are they teaching the very thing that you want to teach, how they're creating their title for their podcast. What are the keywords that they're using for their podcast? What do their podcasts look like, right? What image do they have there? How do they start their intro, right? The introduction of their podcast when they come out. How do they start their outro, right? How they end their podcast as well. These are things that you have to do in research. Once you have researched all of these items, then now you are able to create your podcast. But for me, when I did my podcast, I did a 21-day challenge where I pre-recorded all my podcasts before I went on the air. I really like that concept, especially if you're a busy person like me, because I'm an educator as well as a business owner. So I have found that because I had the 21 days of podcast already pre-recorded, and each week I created a new podcast on a week that, my schedule was too busy and I didn't have time and I didn't feel like it. I at least had 21 podcasts available, and I could select any one of those and have my assistant really go in there and edit it and add the thumb card and add the words for me onto the podcast and push it out onto YouTube. And then I use Libsyn as the way for it to be pushed out onto my iTunes, my Stitcher, and my Google Play. So absolutely plan ahead, pre-record all of your podcasts. I would highly suggest that 21-day challenge, have everything pre-recorded. And then after that 21 day, after you've had 21 day of content, each week you create a new content. So this way, your 21 day is that is what you have in storage, but each week you come up with a new content, so that the week that you don't have a new content or your schedule is busy, then you can actually have that as a storage. There's also ways of learning how to create content, how to create podcasts by looking at YouTube. You can look on there as well, and there's some podcast experts out there as well that you could learn from. For me, I really I started that 21-day challenge because I really had a message. It was right after the pandemic. I was seeing so many people suffering. People were really feeling really down. So I wanted to do something to reach out. And I remember the first one, it was actually me coming out, recording a message and putting that message on Facebook, and the responses that I got from a lot of people. And I was like, you know what? This is in my heart. I'm going to do it. I was nervous as can be, but I went ahead and did it anyway, because that's what our purpose is. You're never going to be perfect at it in the very beginning. So why not do it? So I hope this information has been very useful, and I'm looking forward to your questions right now. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you so much for sharing that information. A lot of people don't understand that even though we are people that serve God and do everything, a lot of people don't understand that God has also given you talents and abilities to do certain things. Now, I like the fact that you were sharing some examples. For example, the person that had the restaurant and decided that they, are going to do some form of podcasting and stuff like that. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of people wherever you are watching us from, and even on this platform, you have a purpose that is there. So probably you might be a teacher, and probably, parents are struggling with math, and you might want to create a podcast. It's a gift that was given to you to be the best teacher, to be a mathematician and stuff like that. And you can probably create things on how to get your children to like math, or how to get your children to adapt to remote learning. There are just so many messages that you can bring across. Or if you're somebody that's working in the healthcare industry, and probably you have seen what COVID-19 is doing and stuff like that, and you want to just talk about some tips on ways to prevent certain things from happening, how to keep, there's a lot of things that are going on in terms of like ways to keep yourself, healthy, ways to do this and stuff like that. And many people have gifts, but what they do is they sit down on the gift. I think a lot of us like working for others. I'm beginning to think that people just like to work for others. So they just make sure, I was telling my sons, when you're playing those games or whatever it is that you're doing, you're putting money into the person who created the game's hand. I said, so don't you think you should create a game instead, or do something instead of always giving away your talent and stuff like that? You see people create games, they become gamers, they get on the part, and they just tell the children how to play the game, just one of the game, and they're making lots of money and stuff like that. You're here if you want to do cooking and you want to show podcasts and how you cook your favorite dishes, probably your all these different things, and just having people who, I want that recipe. What is that recipe? Your secret recipe and stuff like that. People don't understand that there is just so much that they can do as children of God. There's so much you can do to just genuinely get your mind refocus off certain things and help you to press on through this. Like you said, now is the time. Your online presence is now, not tomorrow, but now. Your online presence. What is happening now? Everybody has to adapt. Churches have to adapt. Have to adapt. Businesses have to adapt. In fact, I saw something like today, Google, they have their people working from home, and Google now decided to turn their offices into what? Vaccine hubs or whatever it is. Whatever it is, I'm just saying people are adapting right around the world. And then people are sharing how to get the most out of your trades, how to use coupon in this pandemic, there's so many different things that we can do. One of the questions I want to ask you is, I know you talk about podcasts and stuff like that, and somebody asked the question, how much is the cost of starting a podcast channel? Is there a channel, or is it just a podcasting? Where do they redirect the podcasting? Through YouTube, or do they have to, because YouTube allows you to have your own personal channel or something like that. Correct. So someone is asking, how much is the cost of starting a podcast? Is there any starting cost or anything like that? Go ahead.
Yeah, so some of the platforms, the platforms do not charge. As I remember with iTunes, I did not pay a fee to iTunes to open up a podcast. Neither did I for Stitcher or for Google Play. I just signed up and let them know that I have a podcast. I put in what type of message, the name of the company, the type of description of the type of podcast it was going to be, and I just opened it up. The only thing that I did pay for was Libsyn, and that's the hosting company, right? So Libsyn is where when I create the podcast, it distributes my podcast to iTunes, to Stitcher, as well as to Google Play. As far as for YouTube, say you're good on camera and you're not afraid, right? You can actually create a YouTube channel. It's free, and you start your podcast and you start recording. You'd be amazed. I see all these teenagers that were making a lot of money just using YouTube, and it was ridiculous. And you look at their houses, and it was regular homes, and they're talking about what they're going through, and they're walking around with their camera. It really doesn't cost anything to start. It's just you taking the step. That's all it costs. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Yes, someone is asking if you edit it yourself or is there an editing app for that particular thing?
So what I have done, I actually have an assistant who edits my podcast for me. So she specifically edits the podcast. But if you search online, there are ways, there are video editors that you can use, even your computer. I know that, say, for instance, on a Mac, you have iMovie, which will allow you to remove sections of your video. Or you have also ways of doing that for your audio with a Mac computer. However, there are different forms of applications out there that you will have to learn to do that. My thing is, if you're just starting, start with your message and speak, right? And speak from your heart. Really, the most important thing is the planning. Because prior to starting a podcast, I usually use like a Google slide. And I have my title of my podcast. The next thing I have is the keywords, because I do a keyword research on the podcast content that I'm going to be sharing with my audience to see what are the most high performing keywords. So what I will do is do a real search about influencers who have created similar podcasts to mine. So like, for instance, on Sunday, I recorded my podcast about mindset, right? Shifting your mindset. So I went in there and did a keyword search on shifting your mindset and see who's out there who has great podcasts on YouTube about shifting your mind, and so looked at the ratings, which were the top ones that came out. And on the side, I looked at the keywords and I added those keywords. And then from there, I selected the keywords that were the high keywords that were also going to be part of the content that I was going to present. So this way, when I created my slide, like when I said strategy 1, I know whatever that was in strategy 1, there were some of the keywords that were added onto it. Strategy 2, I would add some, in this, what I'm saying, whatever the strategy is, I added those trigger keywords. So this way, when I add my podcast onto YouTube, that I would add the keywords on there. So this way, when people are searching about mindset, they would be able to find my YouTube video on mindset. So what I would say the best way is to plan ahead, which is create maybe a slide, Google Slides, come up with your title of your podcast, keyword search at the keywords, and then the third slide would be bullets of what you're going to be talking about. Do not create a slide where you're going to be reading from, because people can see that you're reading. So if you're passionate about a topic, just have a one sentence bullet, about 3-4 words the most. So this way you go topic 1, and then you talk about that, and you go topic 2. So you'd have 3-4 bullets, and then you add that on there. And then you just start from where you are. And from there, you know what, as you see that you have extra money, then you will be looking for, you could always search online for someone to edit your podcast. Absolutely. And you could do that. But I would say start from where you are would be the best suggestion, because wherever you are, you're still going to learn. You're going to be making mistakes anyway. So why not do it, right? And then just make sure that you plan your message, you're to the point. And you know what? If you're just starting out, tell people you're just starting out, because guess what? So many people are afraid of doing what you're doing. So tell them, I'm just starting out. I'm just starting my podcast. Tell them what it is, the challenges that you have in starting your podcast. Tell them your story. Let people into your life. Let them see who you are and see that you're a real person who's actually daring to do what God has called you to do. Because it takes getting out of that regular comfort zone, right? So you're actually daring and stepping into that new person, into your purpose. So absolutely. Are there any more questions?
Okay, yes. So there are other questions, such as, are there certain websites that you can go if you want to have overlays or cover pages or artwork or stuff like that?
Okay, so I will tell you this, because that's where the art, I know how I want things to look, but I am not doing I do know that people use like Adobe Sparks. Some people do use Adobe. I will be honest, for me, I didn't start with an overlay because I had an assistant. I had hired someone to work for me, and she pretty much does the creative portion as far as the overlay, how it looks like, how the words come up. If I say step one, you will see the word come out. That is not my strength. I think my thing was taking the step forward and doing my podcast. I was able to pay someone to be my assistant and to work part-time for me. And that's one of the things that she's responsible for. But I would say use Adobe, Photoshop are ways you can do that. Oh, another thing you can use is Canva. Canva is a great thing that you can absolutely use. So
yes, I am aware of Canva. Canva is really a good one to do your overlays and stuff like that. Actually, I use Canva for our overlays. That's where we get our overlays between Canva. There's also things like Post on My Wall,
absolutely.
postonmywall.com and stuff like that. So you can get it there. Go ahead.
People use Canva. So Canva is a free way of doing that too. They have the free and then they have the fee portion as well. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Right. Yeah, so other questions that are coming in also are questions like, for example, when someone is doing a podcast, do they need specific equipment, such as probably can they use their phones? Do they need a camera? Do they need a computer? What do they need? I mean, they're trying to make sure that they're purposeful in what they're doing and to look as professional. But I heard you say earlier that just start off and just do your thing, be yourself and stuff like that. Is there anything, or does it just comes with building as you're growing?
I would say start from where you are. I remember I was speaking to one of my cousins, and she's like a YouTuber, and she has all these equipment. And I remember her telling her mom, she's like, you have to have this equipment, that equipment. When I started, I just used my laptop. I literally used my laptop and used Zoom, which is a free account on Zoom, and I recorded. And later on, I realized the best way to do my podcast that I do well is recording directly from my phone. I literally take my phone. I bought a ring light. So you can go on eBay and purchase that. I would say is gold. You can purchase a ring light from eBay, and right on eBay, they're not expensive, and you put your camera on there and then you just record. In the beginning, when you record, you're not going to even notice. You're going to make some mistakes, and you go ahead with that. But just being you and recording is most important. You can use your phone if it's only for audio. Every phone has an audio recording. So you can just click on the audio recording for your phone and just record your message, what you want to say in your podcast. Listen, is it perfect the first time? No, it's not. Is it perfect when you're creating a podcast? So for instance, on Sunday, when I recorded my podcast on my phone, I think I had to record it 3 times. So that means that, record it, then made a mistake, went back, record again until I found my voice and I was comfortable in my own skin, and I went ahead and just went straight through, right? Your podcast doesn't have to be long. That's a good one I needed to tell you. Your podcast doesn't have to be 30 minutes long, 20 minutes, an hour long. Your podcast could be 10 minutes, right? There's so much you can say in 10 minutes. With Facebook, if you have a podcast on YouTube for 10 minutes, that's when you can start monetizing your YouTube channel. So make sure it's at least 10 minutes, and that's pretty much just so much we can say in 10 minutes only. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that when it comes on to our purpose, especially when it comes on to our God-given purpose, many people need to understand that we can either provide a good or a service, because the podcasting can be about a good that you have, or it could be a service, and the service could be just you encouraging, you showing how to do math, showing how to walk, assist children in remote learning and so on. But then there's also the physical goods, like you said, with someone podcasting about their restaurant because they're selling a good. But the service that is coming through that is the fact that they're talking about it. So they're also making sure that you come and get an idea of the food that I have. But then there are also, I see other people doing podcasts. There are people that probably want to help others during this pandemic. And not only in the pandemic, even after, people who are assisting others, and they might probably podcast about themselves, like, I'm going to visit Miss So-and-so today, she has been such a good, so, and you're showing all these different things that you're doing and stuff like that. And we want the people that are watching this, not only in Generation Ready Ministries, but also on the platform, to know that you have been created and designed for a purpose. You have a purpose where you have been created to worship God, but you also have a purpose within you that God has provided something within you to be of substance to someone else, where you can help others, whether it be through a service or whether it be through providing physical goods and stuff like that. And I really like the fact that you're sharing with us about the podcasting and how that is very important to align yourself in your God-given purpose, whatever it is. So another question I see coming up is that, like, people are asking, like, is it necessary to have music in your podcast? Or if you're going to find music, is there certain apps that you can get it free? Do we definitely need to build that ambiance where music is a part of the podcast?
It is all up to you. Like when I first started, I didn't have the music background, but actually, if you search online for intro music, free intro music, you could actually, there are music that are out there that you can actually use on your podcast that you're not breaking copyright, you're not infringing with the copyright laws. So with that in mind, yes, there are music that are out there that you can use, but you don't have to start with music. Just start with your message. And I think what Dr. Reynolds said is really important to look at it, because when you are doing your podcast, you don't want to come out with a product, right? You don't want to be selling a product. You want to really share your heart. That's why purpose is important, because when you have purpose, you're not selling. You're really just talking from your heart, right? You're telling people stories. When you have purpose, your thrill is not the money. Your thrill is the lives that you're changing, are the people that you're touching, are the connections that you're making. So when you're starting your podcast, if it is really about purpose, then I will tell you, it's going to make a difference. And that's really what I'm noticing right now. A lot of people came into the digital marketing platform and it was all about the dollars. It was all about the money, and they just rush into it. And it was like the new gold rush, right? What's happening now is a lot of them are realizing, and I'm listening to them because a lot of them I'm friends with too, and I'm hearing how they're coming up with their stories. A lot of them are realizing it's a lot more work than what they thought, and there's not a lot of money to be made, because guess what? They're all selling the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. So guess what? If a lot of people are saying the same thing, right? When you're hearing it, you're going to get absolutely bored, because you're going to be like, oh, I heard this message here. I heard the same message there. But when it's purpose, guess what? It's not going to be the same message, because I'm not the same as Dr. Reynolds, and Dr. Reynolds is not the same as me. So I'm coming up with my message. And when I'm saying my message and I'm saying my story, people who are my avatar, my target audience, who have gone through the same struggle as I have gone through, I'm reaching them. So for me, that's why when I started Mommionaire Digital Marketing, I knew I was speaking to working moms like me. I was speaking to women who probably are the only breadwinners, right? Who are providing for their families, that are looking for that extra income to pay their bills, or maybe looking for that extra income to buy their dream home in the future, or to pay their children's college, or to have some money stashed up. So if they have a problem, they could actually use that money. Or people who are mothers, who are married, who are also wanting to help support their husband, right? Who want to support their families. So when I started with Mommionaire, I knew my story, I know my struggles and everything. So when everyone in the digital platform, as I'm building my group, the reason why I'm growing my group fast, because people in my who are seeing me, I'm not saying the same message as everyone. My stories are original. They're me. And they're connecting to real women who have the same challenges. You know, for instance, I worked, you know, we're grading, I'm working. I had to cook dinner before I came here. I had cooked dinner, my daughter ate, I came, I fixed myself as if like I didn't do anything all day. So when my message are to those women, right, who are doing it all for their family because they have a purpose. Because I want to encourage women that we can do it. Because you know what? In the Bible, it talks about Proverbs 31 women, right? That woman that the husband looks up to, right? When we walk around. So I'm speaking to those women. So because of that, my message is not about digital marketing. It's about the mind frame, right? The mindset. What do we go through? What the challenges we have to go through, the things that we experience. So my start is not about the money. But then as I connect with people and I'm telling people, okay, here's how you use digital marketing platform to build your business, to get the extra money, get in on it right now before you don't want to be in the tail end, because I am doing it. And that is my story. So I'm not selling, I am telling my story. And that's what you're doing. You're using YouTube, you're using the other podcasting channels such as iTunes, such as Google Play, such as Stitcher, to really connect with your target audience and to tell them your story and to let them know, I've had these struggles too. I've been here too, but guess what? I am doing it anyway. Come along with me. Let's do it together. And that's what the platform brings us, that ability to do that. Because as you do that, certainly we have to spend money in our learning. People will start spending money. They will start because they trust you. You're breaking these walls because they identify with you. I hope I'm making sense to someone out there.
Definitely, definitely. So one of the things that is, as you were basically saying it, and I'm reiterating, is that you're basically solving a problem. You're seeing what is happening and what is needed. And how can I solve this? I've been through something. I've been there. I can share my stories. I can share my challenges. I can share my success. I can share, going back to like even a person, like you said, telling stories. So therefore, if someone wants to share about their restaurant, they could probably go back into why they started the restaurant. Things like their journey into becoming a restaurant owner, or their journey and the things that they daily face and stuff like that. They're sharing their stories, because there might be people who want to definitely start a restaurant, but they're holding back. But you're sharing or something, or you could have had situations as a teenager yourself, and you want to share your journey as a teenager to empower other teenagers. It could be, anything that God has given you and has brought to mind is something that you pray about and you ask God, what is my purpose in that area? What do you need me to do? How can I be of service to be a solution? How can I be a solution to something like that? And I really want to say that I know men, you are also in this empowerment. Christine was just talking about her podcast and what she does, how she helps moms and stuff like that. So it's not that men, you are being left out, because men, you are also very important, and you also can start your podcast. Some of you men, you're single fathers. Some of you are men who have had a rough life. Probably you have even had a hard time growing up in what they call the hood. And you probably would want to share your story about, helping other young men to grow to, so podcasting is really a good way to really build that momentum and build yourself. And as Christine was saying before, a lot of people are doing the same thing. And a lot of people went into it like a gold rush, because it's like a gold rush, but everything is calming down. People are realizing that there are other platforms to use, just like how some people are using Facebook. And then they said, okay, let me go to a live stream and stream to Facebook. And now they don't only stream to Facebook, they stream to another place, and they're just letting themselves be heard in different locations, trying to be a solution somewhere. And so, Christine, we are very thankful last week you were here and you gave us information on how to, use social media such as Facebook and YouTube to build ourselves in terms of like business. But tonight you brought it from a different point of view, where you're talking about sharing your stories through podcasting and utilizing yourself, being your own self, building that confidence within you. Being hesitant is sometimes why some of us are held back. Because of our hesitance, we have not been able to grow. Not only that, some of us are even multimillionaires, but we are not able to be multimillionaires because we have held back on that which God has given us to be able to share and be a solution. Listen, this world has lots of challenges, it has lots of problems. Where do you fit in? You have to figure out, where do I fit in and where can I be of service? And how can I help this? And is podcasting the way to go? Am I supposed to be a digital marketer? Am I supposed to be this? Start looking at yourself and your purpose. And Christine, I really want to say thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. The ministry appreciates you. So please, if you want to get to Christine, you can join her on Mom. What is it again?
Yeah, I'm going to type it on here.
Mom, or Facebook group.
Okay, so it's Mom Millionaire Digital Marketing.
Digital marketing, right. So that we can all know that you can also do that. And you can get some tips from her. So this is her Facebook group. And she also has podcasts also on YouTube, right, Christine?
Yeah, and it's the same title as well.
Is there any phone number you want to leave in case anybody wants to connect with you?
The best way is using going into my Facebook.
Okay, so going into your Facebook so the Facebook group, right? So that's it.
And I
Facebook group, Millionaire Digital Marketing. So somebody, you're in technology time, snap a picture of this or take a photo or write it down. We're very I'm glad to have shared this afternoon with you. And I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And we will see you next week. Next week, single ladies, it's all about you next week. I can tell you it's basically, did God forget the single ladies? That's your topic next week, did God? And we have a wonderful talk host coming all the way from Florida. She'll be speaking. Did God forget the single ladies? Right? So get ready to enjoy, and we just want to say thank you very much, Christine, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me here. Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Be here. Thank you.
Bye.
God bless
Bye.
everyone.
If you would like to get more information on how to build your business using online strategies as well as social media, please go to our website, mommillionairedigitalmarketing.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe and also make some comments of what you would like to hear in our next show. Thank you. Bye-bye.